Today, we journey back, not just thousands of years, but potentially tens of thousands of years, to ask one of the most provocative questions in archaeology. Could an advanced human civilization have existed before the end of the last ice age and been wiped out by a global cataclysm? That's right, today's show is all about ancient mysteries, lost civilizations before the ice. We'll look at the ancient megalithic sites that defy conventional timelines, the mystery of the Younger Dryas period, and whether what we've long dismissed as myth might actually be lost memory. Rewriting the timeline. The standard timeline of civilization goes something like this. You might want to grab a bit of pen and paper. Agriculture is around 10,000 years ago. Cities and writings around 5,000 years ago. Megalithic monuments somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 years ago. And everything before that, nomadic hunter-gatherers. But over the last 2 decades, that story has begun to crack. There are sites, megalithic, sophisticated, and astronomically aligned, that appear to predate agriculture. Sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, Gunung Padang in Indonesia, Nabta in Egypt, and underwater ruins off the coasts of Japan and India. These structures don't just challenge the timeline, they imply a level of organisation, planning, and symbolic knowledge that's supposed to be impossible for their age. So here's the big question: who built them and why? Let's take a look at Göbekli Tepe, this 12,000-year-old enigma and what secrets it holds. Discovered in the 1990s and excavated by the late archaeologist Klaus Schmidt, the site is in the southern eastern area of Turkey. And if you've never seen Göbekli Tepe, I highly recommend that you go and Google it right now. They have these massive T-shaped limestone pillars. Some of them are over 16 feet tall, and each have rich carvings of animals, insects, and abstract symbols. They have stone circles resembling a kind of pre-agricultural temple complex. The radiocarbon dating is astonishing for Göbekli Tepe. 9,600 BCE, that's over 11,500 years ago, during the tail end of the last ice age. Now, our current history book says that at this time, humans were barely planting seeds, yet here we have this monumental architecture and complex symbological expression. Even more strangely, the site was intentionally buried, preserving it under layers of dirt until our time. Why? Graham Hancock, author of Fingerprints of the Gods, calls it, quote, the smoking gun, end quote, evidence of a lost civilization that's transmitted its knowledge after a massive cataclysm. Now, on a side note here, anybody who's been in to see me, I know I have ranted about this programme to many people. If you have access to Netflix, on Netflix there are 2 seasons of a programme called Ancient Apocalypse that is hosted by Graham Hancock, and I just adore this man. He is remarkable, and he is not at all influenced or scared to back down from his belief that the story of the human race is wrong. He isn't an archaeologist, he isn't a historian. He's an investigative journalist who is reading the evidence that is placed before him that says our timeline is wrong. Please, I would highly recommend that you go and watch Ancient Apocalypse. He visits these unbelievable megalithic sites that we're talking about in today's show, and you can see them for your own eyes. For me, the most touching sight is when he goes to Göbekli Tepe and you see these T-shaped monuments. They are absolutely astounding, considering they are supposed to have built when we were living in caves. Human race doesn't just wake up one day and go, oh, I'm going to go and accurately carve that 4-ton piece of rock over there with a stone or instrument that I don't actually possess. So how does it happen? What is causing these events to have happened in our timeline to enable these structures to have existed? The only explanation is the current written timeline for the human race is wrong. We need to shift back. The Younger Dryas catastrophe. Now, some of you may have heard of the Younger Dryas, some of you may not. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information about what it means. The Younger Dryas is a sudden global cooling event that occurred around 2,800 years ago, just as Earth was warming up out of the last ice age. Something caused a dramatic temperature plunge that lasted somewhere between 1,000 and 1,200 years. Glaciers re-advanced, megafauna vanished, and sea levels surged. One of the leading fringe and actually increasingly accepted theories is the Younger Dryas Impact hypothesis that a comet or an asteroid struck the Earth, triggering fires, floods, and atmospheric upheaval. Evidence to support the hypothesis includes a layer of platinum and nanodiamonds found in soil around the world. Massive meltwater pulses in glacial ice records, charcoal layers indicating a global wildfire, sites like the North America's Carolina Bays and Greenland's ice cores. Hancock and geologists like Randall Carlson suggest that this catastrophe erased a previously advanced global culture. And if this is true, then sites like Göbekli Tepe may be the surviving memory, a legacy that's been passed down. Now, Göbekli Tepe isn't the only outlier. There are other evidences, other megalithic structures across the globe, and here are just a few. Gunung Padang is in Indonesia. On the surface, it looks like a simple megalithic terrace, but below the surface, there's a secret. Geophysical scans have revealed layers of manipulated stone, dated by some to be 20,000 BCE. Just think that in. 20,000 BCE. Mainstream archaeologists remain sceptical, but research is absolutely ongoing. One of the main researchers suggests that Gunung Padang may be one of the oldest pyramids in the world. Yonaguni Monument in Japan, discovered under the water near Okinawa. I hope I'm saying that right. It appears to show that there are sharp angles, platforms and steps. Some believe that actually it's a natural forming structure. Others argue it's a sunken structure from a civilization lost to the rising sea. Nabta Playa in Egypt is a stone circle in the Namibian desert dating to 7,000 years ago, aligned accurately to Orion's belt, echoing the later design of the Giza pyramids. Now, here is my question that I'm going to suggest and pose to you. Even if one of these sites is older than mainstream dating suggests, then our whole understanding of ancient human capability shifts, does it not? Let's be logical. Is this myth as memory? Mythology may offer further clues. Ancient flood stories are near universal. From Mesopotamia's epic of Gilgamesh's to the biblic deluge, to tales from India, Aboriginal Australia, they're everywhere across the globe. A massive flooding event happens, and nearly all of them suggest that a civilization is warned. The flood destroys everything, but the survivors rebuild and pass on knowledge. Are these just architectural and archetypal stories, or are they cultural memories of a global event? An event like the Younger Dryas. Plato's story of Atlantis speaks of a powerful society that vanished in a single day and night of catastrophe. Maybe it's not literal, but maybe it's not fiction either. So here are my closing thoughts. Could an advanced civilization have existed before the last ice age? Mainstream academia is cautious, and rightly so, but the data, the carbon data, the ruins, the mythologies, all whispers that we might be standing on the ruins of something older, stranger, and far more intelligent than we've ever imagined. Humans may have forgotten, but the earth hasn't. Maybe we just need to start remembering. As always, it's not up to me to convince you, just to invite you to ask those deeper questions.